Hello everyone, my name is Andres Felipe Garcia. Today I'm going to talk about the reflection questions from the step 2 for English 7. The first question is, what is your purpose for studying English as a foreign language? My purpose for studying English comes from the passion I feel learning a language and the way that I can use it to communicate with others. Since I was like a little kid, I started to interact with English. Back in the time, English music was the thing back in the 19s. So it was very important to get to know a little bit about the culture because of that. Since that time, I will say English brought joy to my life, and then I started to study English. It opens doors and makes me, the person I am today. I will say that it connects me with different cultures and the way I can communicate with others. So, English was just the path for my development as a professional, and I got the opportunity to experiment it and have it in professional fields and also in my daily basis life. So it was really interesting to have that contact and that experiment through my whole life since I was like a 7 years old, I think. Okay, so the second question is, regarding the nature of language study, what aspects imply acquiring speaking skills? Developing a speaking skill goes beyond of learning or memorizing rules and vocabulary. It's about living and having interaction with the real life English situations. According to Guillem from 2024, speaking is a productive and an interactive skill that combines linguistic and also knowledge for pronunciation, fluency, coherence, and communicated intentions. All these aspects lead us to express ourselves accurate and to provide ideas and meaningful responses to what we live in our everyday life. Number three, after planning your language study and especially to enhance your speaking skill, how can you assess your progress? Once I feel comfortable speaking and providing information in English to others through the language, I consider the assets are really connected with the comprehension you got from the listeners. If they get what you're trying to say, then you know that you did a really good job. I mean, because you produce an articulate and enrich output to communicate with them. Also, practicing with others allow to evaluate yourself where you can improve when you try to speak or how to correct any mistake that you had. And as Oliver said, Ernan and Sheckman said in 2025, assessment should be considered as a communicative effectiveness rather than perfection. Feedback from peers or conversations help us as a learners to identify strengths and areas to improve. This is very like important to recognize because every time we try to speak, we need to flow and let it go because normally people tend to be very like have boundaries to speak or say something because they're afraid. So it's important to let it go and just flow. Okay, number four. How can you organize lifelong language learning? Mention specific strategies from your experience and the references. Based on my personal experience, I can say that living with English every day is essential to growing and improving yourself. My day, every day. I mean, if you don't use the language in your daily basis, you cannot have a progress. So it is important to follow up the steps to practice every day, and if it's necessary, create habits that improve your knowledge as well. And how you interact at the same time with others. Guillaume, for example, from 2024 says and states that learning a language requires consistency, flexibility, and purpose. It is important to set goals, have a regular practice, and integrate different strategies like technology to stay in touch. So that was it for today. Thank you for listening and see you next time.